Hello students, good afternoon. Welcome to my social sciences classes. Today we will be learning on the topic resources, that is Unit 2 Geography chapter number 5. Here I am going to write the chapter number and the resources. So the topic resources. First thing is, what is resource? Okay. Anything that is around us, you can see around yourself, anything that is around you, okay, which is useful, which is necessary, that is a resource. So you can see so many things around you. There are trees, there are house, there is a road, there is cars, so many things. All these things all those things on this earth which are useful and which are necessary are known as resources. So everything on this earth that is necessary and useful. One is necessary, the second is useful. Useful for what? Necessary for what? Survival. Okay. So everything in this earth that is necessary or is useful for survival on this earth is known as resource. So existence, necessary for existence, useful for existence. Existence means survival, to live on this earth. So second point is all natural and man-made things. All natural and man-made things, first, that fulfills our needs and satisfies our wants, is also known as resource. There is a difference between needs and wants. I want you to understand this. Needs are those without which we cannot survive. It's very necessary. Food, water, shelter, these are needs. Wants means those things that makes our life comfortable, convenient. So we need house, we need furnitures, we need roads, we need bridges. These are our wants. So resources first is everything in this earth that is necessary as well as useful for survival. To live life on this earth is known as resources. Also under resources, we have to understand all natural as well as man-made things that fulfills our needs as well as satisfies our wants are known as resources. So it can be natural as well as man-made. So the next point that I'm going to come is, I hope you have understood this. The next one that we are going to talk about now, resources. There are so many natural resources. Land is a resource, water is a resource, air is a resource. These resources are there in nature, but these resources we should also be able to take it out and use it for our benefit. For example, land is a resource, soil is a resource, but unless this soil, in order to cultivate, we have to cultivate the soil, grow crops, then only crops will be our food. So, in order to utilize this land, human beings have to work on this land, have to dig. For digging the soil, you need spade, you need some tools. Human beings have to think about the season on which to plant seeds. So many things are required. Water has to be brought. So all these things have to be brought together. Methods of cultivation has to be applied. Then only fruit can grow. So all these things, we take it as technology. Okay, so there is a very close connection between nature, human and technology. So there is an interdependent relationship between nature, human and technology. So this interdependent relationship helps to transform the things or change the things that are there in nature into useful, productive things that can be used by humans. And only when those things that are there around us can be converted into useful products, then only that product or substance we call it as is resource. Otherwise, there are just things around us. It is not a resource. Water is there in your village. There may be a stream of water. That stream is just flowing away. You are not utilizing it for any purpose. Then we cannot say that that is a resource. But if that water is used for drinking purposes, for washing purposes, that water is channelized to the agricultural field for cultivation, then that water becomes a resource. That water, when electricity is generated, it becomes a resource. So what we have to understand is that just because the thing is there, or things or substances or elements are there in nature, it does not just become a resource. We have to test it, whether we can use it and whether we are using it beneficially or not. So there is, the third point is, there is interdependent relationship. Interdependent relationship between human being. First we take nature. Of course, first we have to take nature. We cannot take human being first. Nature always comes before us. So we first mention nature. So I'll write in short, human being and technology. There is a close relationship between these three, interdependent relationship. Why we say there is a close interdependent relationship between nature, human beings and technology? The reason is that, for example, if nature is there, nature has all the things, but human being is not there, then there will be no technology. This nature, the things that are there in nature will be of no use. Now human being is there, but human beings have not developed the technology. Resources are there, he does not have the technology, then also it will be incomplete. Things will be there, human beings are there, but technology is not there, so those things just remains in nature. It is not a resource. So in order to use the things that are available in nature for the benefits of mankind, we need to have these three: nature, human being and technology, and that interdependent or very close relationship between nature, human being and technology. Now human beings are a very important component or part of this resource development. Human beings are a very important part. Fourth is, human beings are very important part or component. We human beings, we are a very important part or component. Component or part. Human beings are very important part or component of human resource, because human beings are also a part of nature. Without human beings, the things that are there in nature cannot be converted into a resource. So human beings are also a very important part of the resource. So human beings are regarded as human resource. Now when we talk about human resource, let me tell you that everyone, country has, for example, so many populations. Now each and every population or each and every human being is not a resource. When do we become a resource? Okay, one individual, one person is just a person, but when that person acquires knowledge, acquires skills and uses those knowledge and skill to do something that is beneficial for himself as well as his family, communities, nation, then he becomes a human resource. So we can say that all of you students, you are acquiring knowledge, you are studying, you are in the process of becoming human resource. The objective, the aim is to become human resource. Your objective is not just to pass class 9 or class 10 and go to the next higher class, but you are in a very important process of becoming human resource. That is very important and you have to keep that in mind. Now human beings, okay, are intelligent. Most intelligent being we are. So human being with their intelligence, okay, they are able to transform and convert the things that are there in the environment into useful substances, and those useful things can be used by all. So intelligence and human intelligence. So this transformation of things that are there in nature or available in nature, human beings are able to do it. Why? Because human being uses his intelligence and converts, okay, the things that are there in nature into useful substances. For example, in iron ore, okay, land has resource in the form of mineral, that is iron ore. But iron ore cannot be used as directly, cannot be used. It has to go through the process of cleaning, or it has to go through the process of refining. First, it has to be mined out. It has to be dug out from the earth. It has to go series of process one after another, cleaning processes or refining, processing we call it. And so after that only the final product comes out. Then that final product only can be used to produce things. So human beings with their intelligence as well as with the use of technology are able to convert the things that are there around us into useful substance, and because of that human beings are a very important part of the resource development process we call it. So I hope you have understood. We have just now I have discussed about what is resource. Everything that is there in nature which is necessary and useful for survival to live life on this earth, that is resource. All natural and man-made things, it can be natural things, that can be man-made things, that is fulfills our needs as well as satisfies our wants, are known as resources. When we say natural things, that is land, air, water. Man-made things, you can think of some man-made things, roads, bridges. How about machines? Man-made things, you can think of so many hundreds of man-made things, those which satisfies our wants and it fulfills our needs, those are resources. Now there are things in nature, but these things becomes resources only when, okay, we have the technology to take it out. We call it, we say that resources has to be economically accessible. What does it mean? Economically accessible means we need to be able to assess those resources and use it. It has to be feasible also. Feasible means it has to be practicable. It should be possible. Okay. There are things in nature, but the technology should not cost more than the minerals that are there in the ground. So we say that technology should be accessible, economically it should be feasible, and it should also be something that is decent and good, that is acceptable to the people. So human beings are able to transform the things that are there in nature into useful substances or useful product, which we call it as resource development. And so there is, third point is interdependent relationship between nature, human beings and technology, because all three is necessary in order to convert or transform things or substances in nature into useful products. Now, human beings are called human resource because human beings are an important part or component of the resource development. Why? Because they, with their intelligence and the use of technology, are able to convert all the things that are there in nature into useful substances. Now, things are there. For example, mineral iron ore. I was just telling you, iron ore is there in the soil, but that iron ore we cannot use it just like that. We have to mine it. We have to go through a process. Okay, it has to go through a series of process of refining, and then only the final product can be used. So just because things are there in nature, it cannot be regarded as resource. It has to go through the process of usage. So the test, how are you going to say this is a resource, this is not a resource? How are you going to differentiate? Usage. Are you able to use that? Are you able to use things that are there? Usage is the test. If you are able to use it, means that is a resource. So this is the first topic on resource. Now the second topic that I will like to switch on to is about classification of resources. Now the second topic that I would like to come to is classification of resources. Classification of resources. Here I would like to draw a diagram and show you. We first have resources, that is, here we take it as natural, and here we take it as human. Human means man-made. Okay, I'm writing in short. This natural we'll take it as human as structures and institutions. And here we will see quantity and quality of the things that are developed, quantity and quality. Natural we will see as renewable and non-renewable. Renewable again is divided into continuous and biological. Bear with my handwriting, I'm not used to writing on whiteboard. Let me try to be a little clearer. Continuous or flow, and this one is biological. This is non-renewable. Non-renewable can be further divided into recyclable and non-recyclable. Okay, so classification of resources. Okay, how do we classify the resources? First, it is related to the topic that I have just explained. Okay, natural and man-made we will see are human resources. Now, natural resources are all those resources that are found in nature: land, water, air, forest, flora and fauna, livestock, all those natural resources. Also that which is gift of nature also we call it. So, natural resources. Now, natural resources can be classified into renewable and non-renewable. Renewable are those resources which can be renewed over a long period, a short period of time. It can be reproduced, okay, it can be renewed. And non-renewable is, it cannot be renewed. It takes long period of time, okay, millions of years to form, so it is non-renewable. Now, in renewable, we again have land, water, air, we call it. So, under renewable also we have flow and biological. Flow, we are talking about wind and water that flows, okay, that can be renewed. Here also we call it water and wind comes under continuous or flow, okay, those resources which are renewable. And under renewable also, that is continuous or flow. Under renewable, living, okay, renewable, but forest or flora, okay, these are biological resources. So, and under non-renewable resources, there are cyclable resources. Cyclable like metal. Metal can be recycled, so cyclable. And non-cyclable, fossil fuel, once it is used up, it cannot be renewed or reproduced. So, it cannot be recycled, so fossil fuel here. And then here we are talking about human or man-made. We are talking about all the structures and institutions that are created by humans, and also we are talking about the resources that has been assessed, that has been mapped out by human beings by using technology, and its quality and quantity has been mapped out and assessed, okay, surveyed, and so we're talking about those. So this is about classification of resources. So the third point that we are going to discuss or I'm coming to is types of resources. I've written it here, types of resources. Now we can classify resources into various types on the basis, okay, on the basis of first origin, on the basis of origin, living or non-living, on the basis of exhaustibility, whether it gets exhausted or not, it can be renewed or not, it can be reproduced or not, on the basis of ownership, who owns it, then on the basis of a state or level of development, we can classify resources into 4 types. So on the basis, the first one is on the basis of origin. On the basis of origin, we classify it as biotic and 2 abiotic. Biotic means all those resources which are living, okay, which are composed or which comes from the biosphere, which are living or having life. So in short, I will write it here, having life. Comes from the biosphere, for example, human beings, some more, livestock, fisheries, flora, fauna, all this comes under biotic resources. Example of biotic resources, that's those resources, very simply to remember, those resources which have life or which comes from the biosphere. Okay, then abiotic means non-living. These are composed of non-living substances, non-living like rocks, minerals, soil. We talk about all this abiotic or non-living. So on the basis of origin, we classify resources as biotic, having life, or resources that we get from the biosphere. Example, I have already told you, try to recollect. Human, fisheries, livestock, flora, fauna. Abiotic, non-living, these are composed of non-living objects. These are rocks, minerals, forest, all this comes under rocks, minerals, all this land comes under non-living or abiotic. Then on the second one is on the basis of exhaustibility. The term exhaustibility, if you find it hard to understand, when do we say I got exhausted? When you're too tired, we say I am exhausted. Why we are exhausted? The reason being energy is gone. Energy is gone. We have been working for a long time, so we say exhausted. Exhausted means your energy level has gone down. So on the basis of, so simply the term exhaustibility, if you find it difficult, on the basis of exhaustibility. So when we say on the basis of exhaustibility, we see it whether this resource gets finished up or decreases in quantity, and after it decreases in quantity, we can reproduce and regenerate it or not. There are some resources which we can reproduce it, renew it, but there are resources which we cannot renew. Once it is finished up, means it is gone. It will take millions of years to form again. It takes a long geological period of time to form again, and so we will not have that. So on the basis of exhaustibility, we have renewable and 2 non-renewable. Now under non-renewable, again we have recyclable, and I have shown you this in, it comes under classification, the previous topic that I have shown you also, so don't get confused. So on the basis of exhaustibility, we classify resources as renewable resources. Renewable resources are those resources that can be reproduced or renewed over a short period of time. Forests, for example, trees had been cut down, okay, forest was in, trees had been cut down, but we can renew it. It may take time, but we can renew it over a period of time. Water, for example, soil, the fertility had been lost, but we take care and over a period of time we manage it, and then it can be renewed. The fertility can be brought back. So renewable, we can renew it and reproduce it, okay, we can improve the quality. Every time renewing doesn't mean that reproducing, it also means improving the quality. The non-renewable means once we have used it, it cannot be renewed. To renew or reproduce, it takes a long period of time, millions of years, that is impossible. So, and under non-renewable also we have cyclable, recyclable, and non-recyclable. Recyclable means those things which can be recycled and used again and again. Non-recyclable means one-time use only. So that is on the basis of exhaustibility. The third one will be on the basis of ownership. Now the term ownership should strike a bell. Ownership. Ownership means what? I own this. This is my car. This is my house. Ownership. You are the owner. So ownership. On the basis of ownership means who owns it? You question ownership when it comes on the basis of ownership. Who owns it? Individual private person owns it. Community owns it. Nation owns it. Or international, many country owns it. International community owns it. So on the basis of ownership, we classify resources as individual, community, national, and number 4, international. Okay. So on the basis of ownership, we have individual resource, community resource, national resource, and international resource. So what is individual resource? Individual resources are private resources. Okay, your house. Okay, a farmer owns his land, his well, his plot of land. Okay, in rural areas, a farmer, his plot of land, his well. In urban areas or in towns and cities, your plot of land, even orchards, pasture lands, all this individual property, individual resources. Okay, you can even include house, car. All this comes under individual property. Community owned property. Community means these resources are meant for the benefit of the community. Playground, okay, village pond, burial grounds, picnic spot, parks, all these are community-owned resources. These resources can be assessed and used by the whole community. Now, there are certain resources which belongs to the nation. All the minerals, waters, wildlife, forest, all these belongs to the nation. So, these are national property. For example, India, in the south, there is Indian Ocean. Now, Indian Ocean, in the ocean also, there is a limit that the country has a limit, okay, 12 nautical miles or 200 kilometers, okay, up to that, India can mine, okay, on the ocean bed, but beyond 200 kilometers, India cannot do. That doesn't come under India. So, national property means those, or national resources means those resources which belongs to the nation, and the nation has the right to use it wherever, in anywhere in the country. Now, there are certain resources, the fourth one, international. Okay, for example, in the ocean, beyond 200 kilometers, it belongs to the international community. So, individual nation like India or any other country cannot say that or cannot do as they wish. Okay, they cannot go and mine resources there. They have to take permission from the international institutions in order to assess those resources that are there. So, on the basis types of resources, on the basis of ownership, individual, community, national, and international. So, these are the 4 on the basis of ownership. So, today we have seen what is a resource. Okay, what the 2 definitions of resources. Then we have seen I have explained to you about the interdependent relationship between nature, human, and technology. Then we also have seen how resources are classified, okay, as natural and man-made. Then we have also done about the types of resources on the basis of 3. I have covered it. There is more, which the 4th one on the basis of development or state of level of development I will discuss in the next class. I hope you have understood. So take care. See you next time.